That the Nigerian cement industry has witnessed a monumental turnaround is not an exaggeration. It is presently valued at over $2 billion, a testimony to the country's position as a leading manufacturer of the product. With this stride in cement manufacturing, it is believed that the commodity won't be costly, but it has remained out of reach for many because of its soaring price. A bag of cement currently costs about 2,700 naira. Now let's look at this with Ada Akonobi, research analyst with Financial Derivatives Company. Good morning, Ada. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, your team at FDC is actually projecting that inflation number is going to be coming down 15.99%. And one of the burning issues you have out there is the cement price going up, the price of diesel going up. How do you reconcile this?
So our inflation forecast, typically it's for the month of September, but the spike in cement prices and diesel is actually for the month of October, so it's historical. We need to understand that inflation also measures the rate of change in general prices. So so we are seeing, although in September diesel prices actually spiked and cement prices actually gradually creeping up, but this is typical because this time of the year, that's where we are seeing, more constructions. That's where we're seeing more construction activities. Although, there's still a bit of rain from, typically the rainy season is from May to July and a bit of August, but this is October, we are seeing just very little rain. So now is when there's a lot more construction, and what is actually driving the price of cement is typically demand, increased demand, and prices are higher.
Increased demand. Now, you talked about rainy season. Of course, during rainy season, prices are actually supposed to come down, isn't that so?
Yes, prices are supposed to come down, but this isn't the rainy season. Although we are seeing very little rains, probably in the month of August, in the month of October, we can just have we could have about 2, 3, or 4 rains, but quite heavy. But because of the poor drainage system, it looks like it's extremely heavy. But the rainy season typically runs from the month of May through to July and August. That's the rainy season. But from now, October up to January, there's going to be a lot more demand for cement for construction, and January to February we have the roofing. So demand is driving prices right now.
Now, how much impact will this increase in cement price have on the construction sector, which of course already is contracted?
Yeah, so if cement prices are higher, that's going to feed into the cost. It will somewhat increase the price of rent. But so far, last year to date, this time last year, cement prices were about 2,200, and now it's about 2,700. If you look at it historically, about 3-5 years ago, cement prices typically at the fourth quarter of the year is high because of increased demand. So most builders will somewhat factor this into the cost or rent prices, but however, it's still quite high.
Now we have the issue of energy problem in Nigeria. That's power. And the cement producers actually need power to work. There's issue of foreign exchange, the foreign exchange market. How much are these having impact on perhaps the workabilities of these producers in terms of setting up the prices of cement?
So we can tell that the 3 major producers, which are Dangote, who captures about 65% of market share, Lafarge and Bewe. Yeah, so now we know for sure that there's increased FX liquidity, which is making cost not as cumbersome as it was last year. So there's increased FX liquidity. But however, because we are seeing the federal government, the CBN banned importation of cement as part of the items banned from coming into the country. But then we're seeing Dangote, there's a lot more expansion, and we are seeing that he's even expanding to other African countries as well. So we are seeing that there's increased volume, but then prices are not, somewhat reflective. And they're actually trying to switch. They're looking for more energy cost reflective.
Source of energy.
Yeah, so they're moving away from the low fuel and oil to biomass and coal. So this is, like cheaper alternative sources of energy to bring down final cost of the product.
Talking about ban in cement, some have argued that perhaps because of this ban, importation of cement, most of these manufacturers are now using it as an advantage to, make a kill.
Well, Dangote, like I said, is the price setter because he, captures significant portion of the market share. However, there's still, let's be honest, there's still going to be increased cost of production. We are seeing the issue of diesel, logistics cost as well, moving, because cement typically it's quite heavy, so it's even going to cross out the issues of smuggling and, you know, bringing it through the back. So there's logistics cost, and there are other there's other maintenance issues that they're having that may somewhat spike. Not only the increased demand, there are other issues as well that they may have in the factory that is increasing prices marginally.
So looking at what they have done, so but you think they are doing enough to actually bring down the cost of cement?
I think they are doing enough to bring down the cost of cement, and there's massive expansion. They intend to cement production is expected to increase significantly in 2018. So the likes of Lafarge, BOA, and Dangote are expanding massively and looking to export as well in the nearest future. So it's very good that we don't have to import any of these things. We are self-sufficient. We are somewhat self-sufficient in the production, in the manufacturing of cement, and they're doing all they can. But then we probably need increased competition, because if we look at it, typically in Africa, the cost of cement is about $9.8 as opposed to other countries where it's about $3.5. So in Africa generally we pay about 183% more compared to other countries because of lack of competition. There are just 3 major players in the industry and other upcoming players. So
well, you talked about competition. So what can be done to actually encourage this competition? Perhaps when we have this competition, maybe the prices would actually come down.
Well, the major players are taking over, and we have the small players as well that are slowly coming up. But then it's still the same business environment, very conducive business environment and investment environment. But yes.
Okay, now the government, of course, in all of this, what role do you think they have to play to encourage the competition that you have talked about?
Well, the government will have to put in very favorable policies and probably tax incentives and getting rates at a very favorable, getting rates at a decent amount, and basically infrastructure, diesel, and just the economy generally. But then we're forecasting an economic growth as well. So when we're in the recession, we saw that demand for cement was poor, so they had to somewhat artificially, bring down prices, but then had much more volume. But economic growth is in line with increased demand for cement, because there's going to be a lot more there's going to be a lot more construction, infrastructural projects, and we're actually entering the political season as well. So what we're going to see is a lot of political players are going to ramp up the projects that may have been stalled, just to make sure they close their books and all of that, so that we're going to see increased demand for that. And we expect to see cement prices actually either hover at current levels or inch up marginally before it drops again.
Now, since this product is actually produced locally, I mean, there's no levy, there's no importation tax on it. Some people are of the opinion that these manufacturers can actually leverage on that to actually crash price, because since you're not paying any levy on it.
Well, at this point, crashing prices may not be an option right now, because like we try to explain that typically in the fourth quarter of every year, the cement prices go up just because of increased demand. I mean, every player would want to take advantage of that. So prices are higher now, but as we go into the second quarter of next year or the third quarter of next year, we'll begin to see some tapering in prices.
And what is your outlook for this particular commodity?
Well, we expect to see expansion. We expect to see the major players are looking the major players are trying all they can to make Nigeria self-sufficient in cement and as well export as well, which is a potential source of foreign forex, So they're doing all they can, and we applaud them as well for all they're doing.
Do you think Nigeria can actually achieve that, making cement a major source of foreign exchange? I
mean, it will be very ambitious to say that, but it's in the works, and it's going to be a very long-term project. So, we can agree that we don't have to import cement. So we can say we're somewhat self-sufficient in cement, and it's only a matter of time that, Dangote is already expanding to other African countries anyway. So it's just a matter of time that we may be able to export to other African countries and maybe outside Africa.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. And,
Thank you.